come to order for this December 5th, 2023 meeting of the Planning Board. All rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. We have 3 regular members here and 1 alternate. I appoint Ken as a voting member tonight. I do expect Mr. Madsen hopefully soon, but we're going to get started without him. Ken has all the rights and authority of any board member tonight. Okay. Sounds exciting, doesn't it, Ken?
Yes, it does. I'm thrilled.
Just means we can blame it all on you.
Oh.
And he can pull the regular salary too, right?
Oh.
Right.
Oh, gosh, $5 coming my way.
Anyway, okay, next on the agenda, approval of the minutes of November 7th, 2023, moved by Ms. Cook, seconded by Mr. Gibbs. Any discussion? I did read them, and they were excellent.
I read
Yeah,
them.
very long.
Yeah.
Very, very good for the length, very nice.
Okay.
Well, we do important things.
All in favor, please raise your hand. 4-0. All right. Next on the agenda is a public comment period. This is intended to be really for anything, and not necessarily what's on the agenda. Are there, I see a lot of people here tonight, relatively speaking. How many people are here for Bridgton storage? How about the medical complex? And Wynn Road subdivision? Okay, I think what we'll do is, unless we call for a public hearing, I'll ask the vote to allow members of the public to speak when we get to that item on the agenda. Is there any other topics anybody in the room or on TV wanted to bring to the board's attention before we get started with the regular agenda?
I'd like to hold my tongue for right now.
Okay.
I'd like to say happy holiday before we get all involved in other things.
Well,
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Sounds
Christmas.
good.
to everybody.
Okay, first on the agenda then, old business is 5A, Bridgton Storage, Portland Road, map 9, lot 92. Just as a reminder to the board, and I did send an email on this, but just to go over it again, this was tabled from June 6th. At that meeting, there were a couple things noted. One was a request to delineate the wetlands, to get an updated delineation, because there was some, it wasn't clear how much of the wetlands around the area was forested versus freshwater wetland. There was a question whether or not it was in the floodplain. And then I think the major question was that it appeared, based on where the wetlands were, where we thought they were, and where the shoreland zone boundary was, it, at that time, exceeded the 20% lot coverage in the shoreland zone. So the applicant requested that it be tabled, and we tabled it indefinitely, not knowing how long it would take them, so that they could have a chance to go back and address these situations. The other things that we talked about, just to get them all out, that I noted was DEP approval was still being waited for. There was agreement to have a condition for sidewalks, or for the stipend for sidewalks. And there was a question at the very end. I'm not sure if the applicant was there at the time, but there was a question about the 15% inner corridor spec. So, which is for, I want to say free area, but that's not it. It's open area. Okay? So that was it. And does anybody remember anything else or watch the tape and note anything else? Before we ask the applicant to come up and go over what has happened since we last saw them.
Is this the time, I did note that one of the major problems is this in the shoreland zone? And I noticed that on the finding of facts of 2016, it stated specifically that it wasn't. So I was wondering how they came to that conclusion, and it may be that we are looking at this a little incorrectly, that of shoreland zone at this particular area seems as if it should only be 75 feet from the high water
I
mark.
think we're going to let them get
Yeah, well-
into that.
Well, it would be,
The maps clearly showed it to be in the shoreland zone.
well, it's possible that the map is in error.
Correct, which is why but we need evidence for that, which is what I think we're going to hear about tonight. So I'm going to
Well, I wanted to solve it, but that's okay, let them work.
well, why don't we hear what the applicant has to say based on what they were sent back with.
I'm writing that question down.
Okay.
I am Tim Mishu with Teradyne Consultants, speaking on behalf of Mark Lopez.
Could you just say your name a little louder for me?
Tim Mishu with Teradyne
Tim
Consultants.
Michoud, okay.
So I think the question is basically the 2016 project, which I have a plan of here showing the original project. The shoreline zone was 75-foot setback from Willett Brook at that time. At that time, the applicant requested and the town approved an out parcel of 2.53 acres. That was just retained by the owner. So this development project was permitted with the DEP and it was constructed at that time. And wetland disturbances and stormwater were taken care of at that point. So where we are today is the applicant had proposed development on the out parcel. And then as we went through the process, the town was very informative and instructing us about the new shoreline zoning, the new mappings, and ultimately, the last time we were here, the 20%.
Right.
Impervious cover within the shoreline zone.
So one thing, Ken, just as a reminder, is the shoreline zone is not just 75 feet from a stream. What caused the issue prior was that the shoreline zone is 250 feet from the upland edge of any wetland. And that 250
Oh, I
feet
see, yeah.
crossed well into that area. So the question became, was that wetland area a freshwater wetland where you would measure the upland edge? Or was it a forested wetland where you wouldn't do that at all?
Just to be clear, I thought about that and I looked at the definitions very carefully. And I don't think that the 250-foot zone pertains to this particular area. I think that if you look carefully at the definition of where the 250-foot zone is, it says excluding, it says specifically excluding streams, brooks, and rivers.
No, so,
Yes,
but
it
Ken,
does.
no, let's go back here, because I think these folks agreed with us when we had this in June. So let me go back to the land use ordinance right now, okay?
We did agree.
And let me read you the definition of the shoreland zone, if I can find code. And this was shown on the map, it was shown on the GIS system, and if you recall, the code enforcement officer also testified that there was conflicting evidence. I'm almost to the S's.
You know, that,
So shoreland zone. Shoreland zone is composed of all land areas within 250 feet of one, the normal high water line of any great pond or river, and two, the upland edge of a freshwater wetland. So there's 250 feet from the upland edge of a freshwater wetland,
now where
which is what the map originally classified it as. Two, all land areas within 75 feet of the normal high water line of a stream. And three, any structures built on, over, abutting a dock, wharf, or pier, or other structure extending located below the normal high water line of a water body. So it's 250 feet from a great pond or river, or upland edge of a wetland, freshwater wetland, 75 feet from a stream. So in this particular case, what the board concluded, and this was supported by the GIS maps, was, in the shoreline maps, was that because there was a freshwater wetland, or it appeared there was a freshwater wetland, the 250-foot line was the line of the shoreland zone, not the 75-foot line. That's why we asked the applicant, we gave the applicant the opportunity to go back, redelineate it, and determine whether in fact it was a freshwater wetland, which means it's 250 feet, or it was a forested wetland, which means there's no setback. So with that,
yeah, there
I'd like
are
to-
some errors in that. First thing is that a freshwater wetland has to be 10-plus acres, and it has to be non-contiguous with a stream or a brook.
I understand, which I think they've explained. However, on June 6th, that wasn't clear, and both the CEO testified that it wasn't clear, and there was conflicting evidence between DEP and others. So that's where we are, why we are where we are. I'm not saying I disagree with any of your comments, but that's why we're here, because it wasn't clear at all back in June. And anyway, I want to give the floor back to this fellow.
Okay,
Thank you, Tim Mishu, Teradyne. So we did come back out and we did have the wetlands professionally mapped once again. It was determined to be forested wetlands in these areas over here. So therefore, in that part of the shoreline zone mapping in the town ordinance, it mapped incorrectly. And so therefore, the 75-foot minimum setback just applies. The shoreline zone applies to the wetlands associated with Willett Brook, and there is a Willett Brook FEMA floodplain study that was done for Bridgton. Clearly states that the 100-year flood is 405. All of the existing buildings, the proposed building, finished floor elevations are at like 409, 4085, 410, and 411. So we're clearly outside of the 100-year flood. And therefore, what we've done is we've maintained 75-foot setback from that, and we acknowledge that we are in the shoreline zone, like commercial, I believe it is.
Limited commercial,
Limited
yeah.
commercial, and therefore, as was pointed out to us by the board the last time we were here, the 20% impervious cover applies within that zone. So we revisited our site plan again and provided a site plan that provides 19.3% impervious coverage within that 20% area in the limited commercial. So at this time, the applicant requests approval because we feel like we've agreed a lot with the town's direction. We've provided additional professional services to adhere to that and to confirm or to not disagree, but just to more point out some discrepancies in the mapping that are in the ordinance. And therefore, we believe that we have provided a very clean plan that meets the intent of the ordinance, that the town installed within the shoreline zone. And therefore, if there are no more questions, or if there are more questions, I'm happy to answer them, but we are looking to get approval tonight after
Okay,
all this time.
so, any more questions? I would say, Mr. Gibbs, that if you strongly disagreed with the CEO and the conclusion of the board on June 6th, that would have been the time to have said it.
Well, one can change one's mind in between. I mean, one's mind does not stay
I
static.
would still maintain that unless you prove
I
that's
can-
not the upland edge of a freshland wetland, then it's the shoreline zone.
I think I can prove it.
Well, you don't have to, they proved it.
I think I can prove that the property is not in the shoreline zone and is not subject to the 20% lot coverage. By looking at the definitions.
So that would ask the applicant to go back and then add
Yeah.
another building, because right now it meets the spec, it looks like,
Well,
so.
that's up to the applicant, of course, but I think if we look at the definitions carefully, we'll discover that this particular piece of property is not in the shoreline zone, or if it is, it's only in the 75-foot from the Willett Brook area, and not the 250-foot.
But that, I think we're in violent agreement right now.
Yes,
So they're meeting the 75-foot as is shown here, which I think is why one building's been eliminated, as
But-
well as the 20, so it's 20% of the area in the shoreline zone.
The 20% dictated this site plan.
Yeah,
yeah. Now, the question is that parcel, or are those buildings, are they less than 75 feet from Willett Brook high water line?
No. No, because we mapped up a high water line as 405, and we've maintained the setbacks from that. Willett Brook is kind of a.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
has a
so-
little arch in there.
so I think what the delineation has shown is that this area, if I'm correct,
It's forested,
is forested.
correct,
And that this wetland area here is freshwater wetland,
associated with Willett Brook.
associated with Willett Brook. That's what a wetland scientist said. In that case,
It can be a wetland, but it isn't the definition in the shoreland zone, if you look at the
so
definition.
which definition are we going to, Ken?
Look
Because
at the
I feel like
definition.
we're
Yeah.
beating a dead horse right now, and this
Well,
should
we're
have been
beating a
brought up in June.
definition, and
Go to the definition, please.
the definition of a freshwater wetland, now we have to get to it. Pardon me while I scroll away.
take
See,
time.
if you carry it around in this book, you could pull it out, like I'm trying to do.
Wetland or freshwater wetland. A freshwater swamp, marsh, bog, or similar area other than a forested wetland that covers 10 or more contiguous acres or less than 10 contiguous acres and is adjacent to a surface water body, excluding any river, stream, or brook, such that in a natural state the combined service area is in excess of 10 acres and is inundated or saturated by surface water or groundwater of frequency and for duration sufficient to support, and which under normal circumstances does support a prevalence of wetland vegetation typically adapted for life in saturated soils. A freshwater wetland may contain small stream channels or inclusions of land. So it then further says, upland edge of a wetland, the boundary between the upland and wetland. For purposes of a freshwater wetland, the upland edge is formed where the soils are not saturated for a duration sufficient to support wetland vegetation, or where the soils support the growth of wetland vegetation, but such vegetation is dominated by woody stems that are 6 meters. So a wetland scientist, the 10 contiguous acres is not just on their property, it's all along Willett Brook. It doesn't have to be just on that property.
It says in the definition which you read, the operative phrase excluding any river, stream, or brook. So 10 or more contiguous acres, or less than 10 contiguous acres, excluding any river, stream, or brook. And this is Willett Brook, and it is excluded from a freshwater wetland.
It's not included in the calculation of the 10 contiguous acres. That's what that says to me. So if you look at a map, you'll see that that freshwater wetland goes on either side of Willett Brook for definitely 10 acres. And that's what a wetland scientist says as well.
It may be wetlands, but it specifically says that wetlands that you consider a freshwater wetland is not adjacent to a river, stream, or brook.
No, I don't think so.
It says it right there.
No, it says exclude the area that includes it.
It doesn't say excluding the area, excluding any river, stream, or brook.
Okay, so what's the rest of the board think? Because Ken and I disagree, and I think this has already been approved by DEP with the shoreline boundary as is, with 2 buildings.
If you go on to the definition, it says that at the last part, freshwater wetlands may contain small stream channels or inclusions of land. It wouldn't say that if these freshwater wetlands were adjacent to a stream or brook.
And this was already approved by the DEP.
Yeah,
We should,
with 2.
yeah, we should just vote on this.
I think, Ken, I'm just going to have to disagree. A freshwater swamp, marsh, bog, or similar area other than a forested wetland that A, covers 10 or more contiguous acres or less than 10 contiguous acres and is adjacent to a surface water body, excluding any river, stream, or brook, such that in a natural state, the combined surface is in excess of 10 acres. So the way I read that, it's talking about what's included in the 10 acres. That's the way the wetland scientist reads it. That's the way they drew the adjusted line on the map. And if you look at Willett Brook, there is 10 contiguous acres of wetland, whether it's adjacent to that stream or not.
That's kind of strange because it means that any stream or brook would have 10 contiguous acres of wetlands.
No, that doesn't mean that at all, Ken.
Well, that's what it would
It
encompass.
really depends on the landscape, the lay of the land, whether, how the elevation of the land.
Yeah,
How high the banks of the river are. So I think, Ms. Day, do you have anything to add before we move on?
I agree that it's 10 continuous acres of wetlands, and that's what we've always been told to with DEP as well. I know that's one of the largest wetlands we have in Bridgton, so it is 10 continuous acres. So it's a wetland, just what type, they've shown that on their plan through their delineation.
So,
Are you saying continuous or contiguous?
contiguous.
Yeah.
Contiguous.
Okay. I know what it means, but
So I think,
it wasn't you, it was here.
I probably said continuous.
I think we should move on
This
unless
the discussion
the
is
applicant
continuous.
really wants to try for 3 and wants to go back to DEP and wants to argue with the board about it.
You know what, we may want to do that, but not tonight.
Good.
Yeah, I'm just following also the finding of facts before, which specifically states it's not in the shoreland zone for the original project. And I wondered why it stated that specifically, that it wasn't in the shoreland zone.
So we also have to remember that we had new shoreline zone mapping done in 2019. So the previous one was from maps that were very incorrect, and that's why we redid them and had the limited commercial area and all that. So we had 2 different maps, totally different maps, at the time. So, I mean, that could be part of the issue. I mean, because technically, back then, that building shouldn't even be there because the shoreline zoning mapping was so incorrect. And that's why we did have to redo them. But as far as wetlands and being delineated, those can be wrong because we'd have to have the whole town delineated, which is very, very expensive, to figure out exactly where that line is and what they are,
So
what types.
So in 2016, Ken, the maps incorrectly didn't show the limited commercial zone because of the coloring of the maps and their size. Now they do, starting in, I think it was actually 2021. And that's what actually got us into this whole discussion. So, again, I would just ask that when folks come up with, you're certainly allowed to disagree, but it's really helpful if this is done at the time when we're having the discussion. Anyway, Dee?
Well, it seems to me, Ken, that what you're really talking about is the absolute meaning of that exclusionary phrase. So why don't we submit that to whoever is the person who can deal with it for future action? And if the applicant wants to, if that changes, they want to make additional changes to their plan. But it seems to me that right now, everybody has agreed that this would probably meet the definition that we're using tonight.
Correct. Which is, the
So,
lower half is a freshwater
Right.
wetland that's contiguous, the upper half is not.
so we don't have a judgment on what the rest means.
Well,
Because
we can-
Solomon didn't come tonight, so.
We can make the judgment, or we can look at the map that has the huge green acreage right there. You see the green? That's wetland.
I'd also like to add too that when we redid the mapping, one of the things that came up was the wetlands. And, we were told at the time we were rewriting the shoreline zoning that, if we had any questions, that we'd have them do a wetland delineation. And that's exactly what we had these people do, and they came back with an answer. So, I think that's the direction of our shoreline zoning, representative that helps us write the ordinance, plus our attorney. So I think, we made them do that. I think we should be following that, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree.
So I'd
So, I
like to-
mean, I think, this is what I think this is. I think this is a point of training with DEP and nothing more. Because you look at these maps, look at the green alongside the stream. It's definitely 10 acres that's continuous. So,
Yeah, I was specifically looking at the definitions the regulations that an applicant has to proceed from. And
so Ken, are you
Yes.
saying the green in the map's not a wetland?
I'm saying that it doesn't follow the definition in the shoreland zone of what a
All right,
freshwater
well,
wetland is.
I think it does. I think we've heard testimony from, we
Yeah.
heard testimony prior, we heard it from the code enforcement officer, we heard why the maps changed. Ms. Miller, I think, we can take a vote here, but
Yeah,
I think if we're gonna vote that it's not, we're pretty much violating what DEP has said is a freshwater wetland.
I think that if the applicant has presented an alternative and they seem to be happy with it and it seems to be comporting with the definition that we've been using, if we want to talk about other definitions or interpretations, we can at a later date. But let's move on this right now.
I agree.
And this has been hanging in the air since the black flies were here. So let's.
It's a long time.
Yes.
Yes,
So let's move on.
I agree. Okay? So, any other questions? Then why don't we deliberate?
After this, you can tell me how many angels are on the head of a pin.
45.
Okay, got it. I'll write it down.
Okay,
Madam Chairman, if I may,
yes,
the project, the site plan is in receipt of DEP permitting.
say again.
This
Sorry.
project is in receipt of DEP permitting.
Yes.
Yes, I wasn't sure if I misunderstood you earlier. You said there wasn't.
No, I meant it was.
Yes.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's go to the, use table. As we discussed earlier, a storage facility is allowed in the inner quarter. Now we go to the dimensional standards. I think much of this is in the narrative, so I'm not going to repeat it all, but you see minimum lot size, which is 60,000 square feet. Minimum lot frontage, shore frontage, maximum lot coverage. This is where the 20% for any lot other than in any other shoreland zoning district, so any shoreland zoning district with the exception of GD1 or GD2, it's 19.2%. Minimum contiguous open private area needs to be 15%. Looking at the map, certainly looks like there's a minimum of that. Structures on lots. Front setback, stop me if somebody thinks it doesn't meet it. Minimum front setback, setback from any common lot line, this is an inner quarter. Setback line from any DVN, MUC, other district essentially is 20 feet, doesn't apply. Shoreland setback, if in the shoreland zone, 75 from the normal high water line of other water bodies, tributary streams, or upland edge of wetlands. Height, ground story elevation, minimum height. Any issues there? All right. We'll go on to the shoreland zone. I think as explained by the applicant, I believe the storage facility was, I'd be wrong, but in any case, it might be a non-conforming use, but since it already exists, it's okay. I think that's what we talked about earlier.
No. It exists, I'm sorry.
Existing, the storage facility already existed.
But is this an expansion of a use or a
Let me,
new-
just a minute, let me look, please.
The same use.
Either that or if somebody wants to go to all the use tables, they can. Hold on a sec. Okay, so sorry, I correct myself. It's a self-storage facility is not allowed in the inner quarter, but because it's already there and it's non-conforming, we had agreed that there wasn't any additional impact, and that was allowed based upon the non-conformance rules. On the site plan. General,
I don't even know where we are. I don't care where.
complies with the code, is an allowable, again, it's actually not allowable use in the inner in the inner quarter, however, it meets the nonconformance rules. And that was explained in the narrative by the applicant back in June. B, preservation enhancement of the landscape, relationship to surroundings, vehicular pedestrian traffic, traffic circulation, parking, surface water drainage, impervious surface, public utilities, advertising features. You're not adding any additional signage, if I remember correctly?
No.
Okay. Special features of the development, exterior lighting, emergency vehicle access, municipal services, water quality, groundwater quantity and quality, air quality, water supply, soils and erosion control, sewage disposal, scenic impacts, noise, location and floodplain. Brenda or Mr. Rashad, could you just clarify, you did submit for a floodplain permit, so it is in the floodplain, or parts of it are in the floodplain, or just a permit? Why was a permit required?
Brenda requested one.
Requested what?
Brenda requested one.
Okay,
That's why.
all right, so I'll just take it that, for clarity, a permit was
A
asked
portion of
for.
the parcel is, but the development is not.
Okay,
So
Right.
okay, thank you.
Excuse me, a question. If it's in the floodplain, do the buildings have to be elevated?
He just said
It's
the
not.
new development is not in the floodplain.
So it's,
The property is not the development.
but the development is not.
Right.
Adequate technical financial capacity, special regulations, road design doesn't apply. And subdivision doesn't apply. So I think that's everything. We had previously talked about condition for DEP approval, that's no longer needed. The floodplain permit, no longer needed. So the condition for sidewalks, and I think that's stated, is providing a stipend to the town for the sidewalks, Brenda?
Yeah,
On the other side.
if Mark agrees to do that.
He did agree at the last meeting, so. So I'd accept a motion to tentatively approve the project as proposed with the condition that a stipend is provided for sidewalks to the town.
So move.
Moved by
I
Ms.
second.
Miller, seconded by Ms. Cook. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. 4-0.
Thank you.
You're approved. Well, tentatively approved. We'll have the findings done in January. All right, next on the agenda. Five B, 10 Lakes Medical Complex, Portland Road, map 10, lots 3.1 and 3.2. Is there anyone that wishes to recuse themselves? I note that the applicant has standing, proper notices were sent. Do we believe the application to be substantially complete?
Yes.
I do. I would only comment that what I would like to see is, as required by section V5B, items 2D and 2E of that section, actually just, I think, D, not E, which is the signage. I didn't see any submission of the sign. All right, with that in mind, do we feel we need a public hearing or a site walk?
No.
We need a sidewalk or public.
No public hearing, no site walk?
No, I think it's a very benign but helpful use of the property.
Absolutely.
Okay, and who was here, was there anybody from the public that had comments about it? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, Mr. Devanian, right? Okay. What I'm gonna do is ask Mr. Seymour to just give the introduction here, and then we'll allow Mr. Devanian and any other member of the public to speak with the board's consensus. Is that okay with the board? All right?
Sure.
And then the board will get into questions.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, board members. My name is James Seymour, civil engineer, project manager with Sebago Technics. With me this evening is Dr. Derek Egan, who is the owner of Haraldson Properties, who will be presenting this proposed 10 Lakes Medical Wellness Center located off Portland Road. Just to be clear, part of the application states that we had 8,313 square feet. However, Mr. Egan has priced that, and because of the high estimates he's got, he's peeled back that building. So some of the building's been presented as 8,313 square feet for certain requirements. However, we've reduced the size of that, and the site plan reflects that change to 6,630 square feet. This is located in the inner corridor. We present this building located right off of Portland Road. Have access, is an existing access to the properties. There are two lots there. This is close to the property line between the two lots. It presents the best site distance. It's a little bit complicated because there's two speed zones through there. So we have applied and have received a entrance permit from MDOT, which is stated in the packet. Also, this area is just outside public utilities for sewer and water. However, we have reached a verbal agreement with the property on the other side, Mr. Lopez, to bring both water and sewer up through his property, cross 302, then traverses that side of the property to provide service for water and sewage to the Medical Wellness Center. That's approximately 960 gallons per day is what we've concluded based on the number of offices and patrons. As noted, there are 49 spaces on the project plan, located just to the north of the building. The building is situated so that it's relatively close to 302, as required by the inner corridor. I know that the previous application had a condition, I don't know if it was conditional, it was a special exception, I think, or waiver for moving that back when it was going to be a boat sales office. Yeah. But we've decided that Mr. Egan has stated that he would like to have that close as possible to 302 for exposure. So, as you noticed, I do have plans, and I can give the board later the exact same plan that's down below that shows the building. It's an attractive building, pitched roofs, nice glass along the parking lot side, nice glass on the 302 side. There will be a sign at the peak of the building on 302. I don't know if that's been fully designed yet, but that's something we can provide the board if they need later. He plans on, I think, utilizing a very similar sign that he has at his facility now, located just down the road on Portland Road. We have applied for, and you have seen the comments that we have received DEP feedback. This does qualify for a stormwater permit because it's 1.49 acres of impervious. Those comments have come back from the DEP engineer, but we have not yet received the actual physical findings of fact approving this. It's still in writing with the DEP analyst. We have met the phosphorus standard for this project. We have an infiltration swale in the back north corner, which treats both peak runoff and phosphorus, so we've met the stormwater conditions. One item that has come up, which we did see through comments from one of the board members not here, is a concern with regards to this possibly being in a shoreline zone. We did provide staff evidence, and I will gladly go over that a little bit later. We don't feel that this is appropriate, given the fact that the wetlands and resource protected has been substantially compromised, and is probably inaccurately mapped, and it sounds like that's a hot topic for this evening, so, we'll just kind of let that lay low for now, and we'll come back to that if the board has any questions, but I'd like to hear we have met with Mr. Tavanian, just to let you know. One of his concerns was lighting. There are two double overhead lights in the parking lot, the rest are wall packs. Those are all fully shielded, cut-off light lenses. We do have a photometric plan that shows that there's zero spillover at the property lines. And with his drive-in theater across the street, obviously he had concerns. We did meet with him, and I think we addressed his concerns, but I will let him make any comments or statements that he'd like. So with that, I'll take a seat.
Okay,
How much do I owe you? Yeah.
just your name, please.
Yeah,
and
John
address.
Tavanian, I own the driving theater. Basically, I'm here tonight. With any development near the drive-in, I'm always concerned about noise and light. And this is the first one since 12 years ago where there was a development that's gonna be right beside the theater. And with this one, I did talk to the applicant and also Mr. Seymour, right? Yeah, my memory. And I'm satisfied that they've taken account of the drive-in and they keep the lights properly shielded, and being the business it is, I'm not worried about noise. The one concern I might have is simply up to you as the board, is that he may not be owning the property forever. Is there a way to have a special condition, or not even a condition, a statement in there that due to the drive-in, it's even more imperative than normal about certain light leakage or possible noise? For, I understand if it becomes a restaurant at some point, that I assume because it's a different use, it would go back to the planning board, but if I'm just throwing something out. And they want to do outside music at night, and things like that. And if it's not in there, sometimes, people get a little foggy of what the expectations are on that piece of property. And I can take an example of a piece of property in Naples that it was, it's in the residential zone, but near the commercial zone in Naples, and it became a restaurant. But the planning board at the time granted it with special conditions on that piece of property. Later on, with a different owner, they wanted to, do outside music and stuff. But because the condition was in there, they couldn't do it because of that condition while, because the residents in that area agreed to go ahead with it with that condition. And I'm just worried because I assume it's all fine to have a outdoor music in that area. There's nothing against that per se. But with property near the theater, I'm just worried because over the years we've lost a lot of drive-ins simply because development that encroaches, which I'm all supportive. I'm not naive not to know that development is going to encroach, and frankly, this type of development is the perfect type of development near the drive-in. So I got no problems with it. But I just want to bug you guys, as you know I have over the years, with any type of business that just keep that in mind. And if there's something you can put in, fine. If it isn't, that's fine too. Okay? That's basically it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
The board, so I'll make a quick comment. I don't know if Brenda or the board would have additional comment. I don't know that we can put restrictions on the property. There are two standards that apply to what you're talking about. One has to do with lighting, the other has to do with noise. Both of those specifically call out abutting properties. Again, we haven't approved this, but I think if it were to be approved after review, I would write the findings that make it clear that based upon abutter input, that was taken those were taken into consideration. So it'd be quite obvious if somebody came for a change of use, which would have to come to this board, and we would have the prior findings. And we would then be able to see those and see the importance put on that by the board. Anybody in the board have any comments, or Brenda?
I'm just wondering, because the Board of Selectmen grants amusement and
Right.
other kinds of things, if there'd be a conflict that would preclude the board being able to offer that assurance.
It would depend on it would so much depend on the situation. So if it's a change of use that includes outdoor entertainment, this board has the authority to approve that or not. And if it were approved for outdoor entertainment, then the select board then gives the license to operate that.
I see. So
But
the-
we do have the
Right.
authority to define hours, noise levels, location, all of that.
And the other issue I just crossed through my mind was whether it would be appropriate to put deed restrictions on the property itself.
That would be up to the owner, I think.
what
Brenda,
I'm
do you have, sorry, Jim, do you have any insight
If you're
on
gonna
this?
put deed restrictions on it, that's a legal matter, that's
Right.
nothing that we can do.
I'm just
Yeah,
suggesting.
and Deb's right, it would be on use, so it would have to go, if a restaurant was to come in, it would have to go in front of the planning board, have to be reviewed
The use
and
is a
approved.
So that would
And
be
you can
change
set
of use.
stipulations, so even if the selectman says they can have entertainment, that comes to me first, and I would have to look at the restrictions that the planning board put on and let them know what those are in the impact statement I do for the selectmen.
So
Go ahead, Mr. Devine.
You
I
have one-
certainly hope that you will be here. I won't, but you will be here to talk about your
Hopefully.
property.
I'm not looking for deed restrictions or anything like that. Basically, I personally, and I'm not saying the planning board can even do it or should do it, whatever. Lighting and stuff is always important. But some areas in town, of some unique pieces of property is more important than others. And perhaps that lighting that's shown here, fine. But you might add a couple of additional lights. That doesn't go to the planning board, it just goes, and she doesn't, or she might not be here, be someone else. There's no conditions of a type of light that could still go down, but instead of being shielded, shine through.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a good point. So when we write the findings, we include a clause in there that says any change to the approved plan must come back to the board. And the CEO really doesn't have the authority to do that herself, except in very sort of more esoteric cases, of which this would definitely not be one of the ones that applies. So it would come back to this board anyway. Again, I can, at the board's request, I can certainly write the findings to be very specific about the lighting and noise, so that it's dead obvious. Sorry for that sort of, it's dead obvious that's what the design is, that's the design that was approved. Any change to that design would have to come back to this board. And to Ms. Day's credit, she has contacted the board and asked for amendments when these sorts of things happen.
Personally, from my point of view, that sounds fine to me, I hope it's fine with you. And that's all I'm looking for, is just something
Yeah.
more concrete in writing that someone we can point to and saying that there's someone else 10 years from now, It's just have a new.
I hear
that's all.
you, and
That's all.
I think
And
we're totally
and I'll say
fine
this
with
too, I understand how the Bridgton News framed it 12 years ago when there was an office, gonna be an office place in the front plus a go-kart in the back. I was never against the go-kart. All I wanted from the developer at the time to assure me, by showing me and that certain standards that were gonna be light and especially noise. He didn't wanna do that, or couldn't do that, and he walked away. That's all I'm looking, because I'm all for development, and that's, and obviously there's gonna be development around the driving theater. I just hope that whatever development happens is compatible with a unique business of driving, where you need relatively, quietness and light, so that people
a-
hopefully enjoy it, and if they
Yeah,
don't enjoy it because of
I don't think, I'm not seeing anybody on this board that feels that disagrees with you. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Mr. Madsen has just come in. We have started with the 10 Lakes Medical
And I'm
Complex.
sorry about tonight.
Yep. So,
Now,
go ahead, Dee.
I just wanted to say that I personally believe that your business is a landmark business that adds to the character and the unique character of Bridgeton, and I would think that most of us do agree, and whoever's on the board would think very strongly before challenging something that is becoming increasingly rare.
Absolutely. Appreciate it. Yeah. I know folks that are my age, which is getting up there, that when they were children. So.
Let us not go into great detail there, please.
Okay, so, anything else you wanted to bring up to the board?
No, I just have some copies of what the building is. There's the rendering, but I just have those. If I could just pass those to the board so they could just see them.
Can I ask the applicant a question?
Go right ahead. We're getting into board questions now, so go ahead.
Well, the P&S, did anybody mention about the P&S being stale?
I have it written down, I hadn't gotten there yet.
Okay. Well, my question is,
These are all the same.
Deb, my
Yeah.
question is, how can we,
So
determine it's complete when we don't have the owner having any clear title to the land?
Well, they have a P&S, which says that the closing would be, unless I understood it incorrectly, maybe this is what you're referring to, they have right to the land based on a contingent sale.
He owns it already.
He owns it.
Yeah.
So it's been sold as
Yes.
of July,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
Okay,
So this went through?
Yes.
okay.
Okay, I didn't see that here, that's why I'm asking.
Well,
the question.
yeah, I had the same question, which was,
I
has it
saw-
been delayed or did it go through?
I saw a
Okay.
P&S that said that it had to be
And we can
completed
provide you the updated.
by May 28th, I think, and it wasn't complete.
Yeah.
I don't show it complete.
I saw the same thing. So, are we good with that?
Yeah, I'm good, that's the only thing I,
All right. Other board questions? Dee?
I just have one about a possible highway sign, because you mentioned there would be a sign over the door
Yes.
identifying the building. It's my understanding that there might be several different practitioners within the building, and as our practice has been, if that's going to be advertised, that should be on a highway sign that's integrated into one sign.
Yes, I believe he plans on using the similar sign that he has down there now for 10 Lakes. And then as each practice comes in, it'll go in
Yeah, you'd add
a
a
marquee
practice.
type sign underneath it.
Okay, fine.
This is a different rendering from the last one you submitted, right?
Correct, yes, that's an updated one, so that matches what's on the floor there. so.
Ken?
Oh, I didn't even see it.
I guess I'm into nitpicking this evening, but on the application, the agent is authorizing himself as an agent. strange.
Well, there are
shouldn't-
no cracks in the ceiling, so.
Oh, that's good.
there's-
No, on the application, agent authorization, the agent is James Seymour, and the person who authorized it is James Seymour. It should be the applicant that authorizes the agent.
I show applicant, signature Derek Egan, and applicant agent James Seymour.
That's that word, he's looking at the beginning.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I meant.
Well, Mr. Eakin is here, and I think he will verify.
He'll sign
that-
anything? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a strange thing on the application that,
Well,
it asks
Maybe
for
they
the
just didn't
applicant's
change it.
signature, it doesn't ask for the owner's signature.
no,
It asks for the applicant's signature.
well, is the applicant then Mr. Seymour?
I'm acting as his agent, signing the application.
Then
so-
you're his agent,
Mr.
and
Egan
so
is the
therefore,
applicant.
Correct. So, Mr.,
so it should be Mr. Egan's.
We can just
Or
have
Dr.
him sign a new sheet.
Mr. Egan,
We'll match
you're,
that. We can just
you're
have-
okay with him acting as your agent? Okay, let's move on.
Right.
Yeah, let's move
Hasn't
on.
made him sit down yet.
Other questions? Nobody?
I had a question.
Go ahead.
You had said in your application that, for water and sewer, that you were to come back with us with further information.
Correct.
Have you sent letters or anything to,
Yes, we have sent letters to Mr. Madison and the water, and those are, because of what they're doing right now, they're kind of backlogged, they have not gotten back to us, we have communicated with them, there is available capacity. As I mentioned, we plan on tapping into the water on Sandy Creek, crossing Mr. Lopez's property on the other side and going under 302, and then there's a stub that's been furnished to Mr. Lopez's lot, which we plan on tying into, again, with an agreement with Mr. Lopez. Both of those will cross 302 and service the property.
okay, I just wanted,
We looked at trying to come up with the main extending up 302, but the cost and the timing was over $500,000, so it was just not feasible for Mr. Egan to absorb that cost.
So can you say again how it will cross 302?
It'll be bore under 302,
Okay.
both the septic and the water.
yes,
Yeah,
for sewer
we-
and water.
I don't think that's reflected in the drawings.
We have I don't know if it came in with this packet because it all came together late. We do have a plan that shows it going up Mr. Lopez's property and crossing under 302. It's an aerial photograph. That will require a utility license from MDOT for the private utility crossing, because it will be considered a private utility since it's a service.
Yeah, so I'd say we'd have to have that
Yeah.
final drawing, and
We need the
before we
letters, we need the
approve.
letters and the
Yeah,
drawing.
so we need the letters from the water district. I don't think we need I think all we need is usage from,
We need a letter from Mr. Madsen.
Yeah, we've submitted
says-
that to Mr. Madsen.
Not this Mr. Madsen, the other one.
so we just need that. I mean, he obviously asked for it to be hooked up.
Yeah,
so-
we submitted that on October 11th, and we just haven't heard back.
Okay, so we're gonna need that. I'll get in the shoreline zone in a minute. And you said 960 GPD per day,
Yeah.
water use. Is the employee amount still around 20, or is that less too since the size is less?
I think it's roughly the same, correct, you know, employees?
Might be overestimating, but I'd rather overestimate than underestimate.
Right. So I think what we would want on the final map, besides besides where it shows the utility going under Route 302, is the submission does ask that it shows the number of lights and talks about how high they are. So the actual lighting, I think you said 2.
Yeah, it's on the site plan. There
Is
are-
it on? Okay,
It's
I
on the
couldn't
site
find
plan,
it.
there's a, yep.
Yeah, there's a lighting chart. that
Now,
you
there's a
have.
lighting, yeah, I know there's a photonics chart, but I was actually looking for,
There's a light here and a double light there, and that's the only
Okay.
light that we have in the parking lot.
all right, and that's shown on the site plan as
It's on
well?
the site plan, and we do have a photometrics plan that we can provide as well.
And I saw that. How high are is the light poles?
Ooh, good question.
18, that could be a follow-up. I mean, if you tell me 35 feet high, I'm a
No,
little
no,
worried.
I
If you tell
think,
me
I'm
20
gonna
feet
guess
high,
it's
I'm not worried.
typically 20.
Okay, that's, we can firm that up
Yep.
and later.
Are they going to be turned on at a certain time and off at a certain time?
There are opportunities, and I think that was one of the conversations we had with Mrs. Tavanian, that, you know, we could put dimmers on at night. We need some for security, but we could put dimmers on after work hours, so they're not so obtrusive to the drive-in.
Could
That's
the
good.
security lights be placed somewhere else that would not be so high, placed on the building perhaps, or
There are,
be sensor lights that would only activate when, well,
Yeah, I think
that's
they
hard
could
to
do-
do on the road, though.
yeah, I think it's also, there's some security concerns with the parking lot and just people,
Yeah.
vagrants being in the parking lot. So I think for the police department, we'd want some ambient lighting, and again, we could dim those down with LED. We have a lot of capacity to change the intensity of the light, so I think we were agreeable to program those to dim after working hours.
Yeah,
And of course, when the drive-in is working, there's more daylight, so you wouldn't need,
Right, exactly.
right. And then the lights from, I saw in the specs there, the amber type
Yep,
lights. And
yep.
so that, I will probably put that in the findings so
Okay.
that it's clear that
Yeah,
the type of lighting, which is the
Yeah.
warm light.
seems like the amber, the warmer light is a little more attractive than
yeah.
I call it the hot lights.
Yeah.
Right. And then, okay, so, and then we'd want the signage with the dimensions, or at least a sketch of the signage.
Yeah, we can work together with a
And
sketch.
are you planning on an internally lit or LED sign?
No, yeah, it'd be externally lighted with downlights cast up, just like he has now at the current facility.
Thank
Almost
you.
like, almost identical. I think
Okay.
we talked about it being identical to what he has now.
Okay.
Established practice, people know the sign, why change?
And then, I guess we'll get to shoreline,
Yes, I believe one of your planning board members had some questions.
yeah, and I also, I think I put something in the comments about needing, I'd like to divulge that I spoke with Brenda on Monday morning and just iterated that we have to follow the maps unless we have evidence to the contrary. And she communicated that to the applicant who has provided evidence. So I think, have you folks looked at what's been provided, and do you have any thoughts on it?
I do have copies of that, the board, so it needs to.
Yeah, so I have a question. So I think I saw your explanation about the wetland across the street and the board and all of that. I'm certainly satisfied with that explanation. My only question is that the shoreland zone shows, not on the lot where the structure is, but on the other lot.
Correct.
The shoreland zone map shows, clips of
The northerly lot.
the
Yeah,
northeast
closest to Napa,
portion of that.
yes.
And it's unclear to me whether you're presenting evidence that it doesn't clip that, or
We're
you
not-
agree that it does clip that.
It, according to your map, and, you know, without verifying those wetland edges that are to the northwest of the property, we're not making an argument that it doesn't clip those, but we are in no way near those,
Correct.
that
Okay.
zone. So all our development is outside of that zone. The only impact was from the small wetland that was basically in the drive-in parking lot.
Right, and Ms. Day, just a question for you. I'm looking at this national wetland inventory with, I may have answered my own question. Even,
Great.
On to the next one.
Yeah, next.
it shows that the wetland doesn't go to those lots, however, without a delineation proving that it doesn't, we can't change that boundary on the second property, right?
Right.
Okay, All right.
And at this time, we're not requesting that. Obviously, if we decide to develop on that other lot, we'll address that at that time.
Yeah.
And maybe at that time, we'd have some evidence as to where those actual
Yeah,
wetland
so
boundaries are.
I think what would be helpful, especially if you ever come back with an amendment, is on the final, whether it's on the site plan map or the, one of the existing condition maps, if on that lot you could,
Show
you
the-
could
just
draw
show it
the
clipping
shoreline
that map.
zone
Okay,
line.
understood,
So
yep.
we all know where it is.
Yep.
And I did want to confirm that the post-construction inspection for all the stormwater features, that's the responsibility of the owner, is that correct?
That's the responsibility of the owner. He would have to solicit, most likely, our services to conduct that.
Okay,
But ultimately, it falls on the owner to find a registered engineer to assist with that.
okay. So,
He doesn't have to use us, we prefer that he does, but
all right. And my last question was, I realize you're allowed to impact based on, I guess Brenda's provided some information, but you're allowed to impact that wetland up to 4,300 square feet. And can I just ask why you need to impact it and how it will be impacted?
it's impacted due to the grading of that access road.
Okay,
So we have to, if you look, there's a slope that kind of rolls down around the corner of that. So it's really, that's the reason why, is for the clearing. The property generally drops off 302 and generally rolls to the northwest, or to the northeast, sorry. So to make that level entrance, we have to kind of build that up, and it's just the excessive slope grading for that access road.
okay. And then my
that is at
last,
like 2,500 square feet, so it's well under the 4,300.
okay. My last comment is just in, there's a spec in the inner quarter for
Sidewalks?
the, I'll find it, hold on. There's a spec in the inner quarter for the facade and how much of it has to be in the front setback. And the facade is not facing the front setback. And so what it says is inner quarter, maximum front setback area requirements. At least 65% of the principal building facade must be located within the maximum front setback area. The facade is the front of the building, as I understand it, and obviously the front setback area is on the road. So I'm assuming you positioned it that way so that people could easily access the building?
Correct, correct.
And not
Rather than have
the
them
other
go to
way.
the parking lot and come back out, we wanted to come directly from the parking lot to the structure.
Okay.
Where if the facade is up close to the street, they gotta come to the parking lot, come out to the street.
Right, if
come
you
in.
were to turn the building around, they have to walk around
Correct.
to the front, and you
Right.
have to put another door in the back or something.
Right.
Go ahead, Ms. Miller, and then I wanted to ask Brenda a question.
I'm wondering if we can interpret front not to mean where the main door is, but just mean the part of the building that is on the major access. That is the front of the building as it relates to the street, not necessarily the front of the building as relates to where the door is.
Can we waive that?
So, I think it's a matter of
Well,
interpretation.
we brought this up with another applicant, and actually specifically made sure that they had the 65%
Well,
face.
I'm not
understand,
saying
I'm
that you
just saying,
shouldn't
in this
meet the
particular case,
requirement.
Can we waive it?
I'm just talking
That
about
was my
the
question.
use of the word front, meaning where the front door is, rather than the part of the building that relates most immediately to the main street.
Well, the word that's the operative word is facade. The face of a
Well,
building,
Every
especially.
building has a facade. every
Just,
time.
could I read, we're instructed to go to the common definition, because it's not in here. The common, the front setback is along the road, that's defined. Facade is the face of a building, especially the principal front, that looks onto a street or open space. I don't see how you get around that. My question
I
is.
do, because it doesn't say the front door has to be there. And
There
it
is a
says
door.
the facade
There is a door, I know
especially,
there's a
which
door.
means that there are other facades of the building.
The face of a
And what you're
building,
saying is that every building has to have a front door on the street, where we're also telling them that they should have their parking lot on the side. So I think the logical plan here, or the plan that they have presented is logical, and that maybe we should be a little more reasonable about definitions, because,
okay, I got it.
got it, good.
So what does this mean to the board? So one question I have is this considered a strict dimensional standard, or can we waive it?
I want to say we can waive it, because I almost think we did with Napa too, because we
Yeah.
had this conversation when we did Napa, and those 3 lots we didn't agree should be in the inner corridor, we all agreed should be in the outer corridor.
Brenda, I agree with you.
So, I think we had this conversation with Napa as well. I'd have to go back and really look to see what we wrote on that, but I'm pretty sure we had the exact same
That person
conversation.
wouldn't be in compliance then,
Right.
so.
And we also have doors in the front as well. There are some entry doors in the front
In the
side.
front, you mean facing,
There's a door right in the
302
middle.
or
302
facing?
side.
Yeah, there's a door on the, there's double doors on the
Yes.
302 side as well.
Yes, there.
Okay. So just to Brenda's comment.
Because I'm not suggesting that the dimension should change. I'm suggesting that we should be a little bit more reasonable about when.
Yeah, no, I understand. So let me
Thank
read the
you.
definition of facade so we can determine whether a waiver is needed, because dimensional standards don't include
Facade.
front setback area. So it means we can waive it. Facade, the face of a building, especially the principal front that looks onto a street or open space.
It says especially, it doesn't say absolutely.
It doesn't say
Yeah.
only, it
Yes.
says especially,
Especially.
which leaves room for the other walls.
We can ask our English professor.
Okay, so does everybody agree the facade is not facing the parking lot?
Doesn't have to. You can face wherever it faces, as long as the edge of the building is on the line where it's supposed to be in relation to
Yeah, we
the
better
street.
rewrite this standard,
Let's do it.
Yeah.
because I
Every
think
night we
we're
come up with
really,
something
really
different.
stretching it, and we should just give a waiver, frankly.
Well, that's what I think we should do.
Yeah, but then you're giving a waiver based on something that's not necessary. Then you're saying
Well,
everybody has to
okay,
have
let's take a
waiver.
vote. I move that we provide a waiver to the applicant for that
Second.
standard, seconded by Ms. Cook. Any further discussion?
I'll agree if you want to waive this in this case to get on with it, but I would prefer to see a clarification in the ordinance.
Well, we can't do
Can't do
that
that
tonight.
tonight, but I want that on our list, please.
All in favor, please, do you
question.
have something to say, Ken?
Yes, I think it's important that fenestration be included, so that if you're waiving it, you shouldn't waive it in such a way that they can have a blank wall facing.
There is a fenestration for that
There-
entrance.
there's-
Yeah,
there's-
so I'm just saying that, fenestration is important.
Yeah, I think they meet the fenestration spec
Yes.
from what I read. But it's this other spec that's the issue in the front setback area.
Yeah, so it should be clear that the windows are important there.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
For the fenestration requirement.
I think they even said they were how many feet apart?
He's saying you can't have a
15
blank
feet?
wall on the street.
It's not, there's 4 windows, 5
Yeah.
windows.
Yeah, there's not a blank wall in
And
the
you said
street, so
15 feet
it,
apart, right, or something on your?
And they're less than 15 feet apart, is that correct?
Yeah, well, I know that he put dimensional in the application.
Yeah.
Are they less than 15 feet apart?
I don't believe they are,
Are they more than 15 feet?
no. I don't have a scale drawing with me this evening, so I can't.
Yeah, the requirement is not over 15 feet between the windows.
But make sure you look at how that's written, Ken.
I looked at the other thing and
Yeah,
got
I'm asking.
stomped on by that.
Inner quarter,
The fenestration,
It shows windows.
length of facade
Where is
uninterrupted by
302?
windows
Oh, to it.
or other exterior openings
That is
exceeding
on
15 feet are
302?
prohibited on all
Well,
ground
that has
story
elements
facades.
that make it,
yeah, so
That's
as
not
long
a
as
blank
it's,
wall that's
Prominent.
facing 302.
Just,
That-
yeah, as long as it's not over 15 feet between the windows, you're okay.
Well, we also gave a waiver to, I believe, the boat area because those windows were small and by design, so,
That's why they got a variance though, because the windows on that side where the speed limit is it changes after that.
yeah.
You know, they were concerned about rocks kicking up from the plow trucks and stuff onto the windows.
here's what
So-
your application
If
said.
the facade is the primary
the-
front of the building, then that's where the windows need to be.
I'm just saying, the application says, the length of the facade uninterrupted by windows does not exceed 15 feet, and the ground story fenestration comprises of more than 30% of the facade. Please see the included architectural drawings for more information. So there's your 15 feet.
7
Yeah. So,
Yeah, I confirm, they're
No,
11,
I know, it was in there.
they're 11 feet, 7 inches apart.
I knew
Okay,
that, that was in
Okay,
here.
so you're okay.
so we're good. All right, so can we vote on the waiver now, please?
I make a motion.
All in favor? 5-0. All right, we'll provide a waiver for that.
Thank you.
It's an unfortunate anomaly of the inner quarter and where those are.
Yeah, don't take your windows away.
Make sure you have a good
All right.
tape to measure how far they're
now
apart.
what you need is a neon light saying, front door, front door.
Does anybody have any other questions, observations, issues they want to bring up?
God help you.
All right, so this is what I have. I think the best thing to do is, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Do we have in this application that shows that the applicant owns the property, documentation as such?
We can get it, I
Well,
think.
no, I'm saying as part
Yeah.
of our approval, or we need that.
Yep,
Yeah.
understood. I have it on my list.
Thank
So
you,
I
I
was-
just wanted to make sure.
I was going to go over the laundry list,
Okay.
okay? So this would be for January. I think, you know, you can see where the board's leaning on this, so I think if you could just bring all this,
Yep.
assuming there's no surprises, I think we would deliberate and render a decision on that evening, which I think meets your timeline, because you just.
Yeah, he just gave me a copy of, it was recorded on the 28th of September, so
Okay.
we have it.
Thank you.
So, in terms of the map, we need the shoreline zoning boundary on it for that one lot. I would just mention right now, because I forgot, and I provided let me make sure you have this. It was stated that this was undeveloped, but on the original survey, it shows a stone wall on one, right there.
Okay.
And I guess if you could confirm whether that stone wall is still there or not, and if it is, put it on the map.
If it is, it's not a
don't worry
very,
about it.
it's not a very prominent stone wall, but it may be there. We'll confirm.
Yeah, so for the board's edification, you have that map. I corroborated the original survey plan. Okay, so we need the signage, we need the proof of ownership, we need the letter from Dave Madsen and a letter from the Water District. Update the map with the shoreline zoning boundary, and if there is a rock wall there. And you stated you'll need a utility license from MDOT. And do you have letters out concerning wildlife?
We filed the typical letters for the stormwater permit.
Yep,
We did not file anything specifically for shoreline zoning because we didn't feel we were in it. And technically, I know it's on the property, but we're not impacting that in any shoreline zoning permit. So
okay,
the
so,
short answer is no, I have not anything specific from Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, but we have included the CPAC, which is the federal online study for the stormwater permit.
so for folks, Ms. DiPietro, and you should consider this as if it were a member of the public submitting it, who couldn't be here tonight, noted that that area is in one of the, if you look at the natural wildlife map that was provided, and there's some potential protected species and so forth and
Yeah,
so on.
I think the typical that comes back has been monarch butterflies and long-eared bats.
And what I would say here is, is technically that is not a standard in the site plan. We went over this before with the sand pit, I think. Obviously, if something natural is going to be destroyed by this, that's obvious, we should get that. But does anybody feel they need something more? Ken?
I'd just like to say, I think that the letter generally from the Fisheries and Wildlife is a form letter.
Yes.
And it's not really specific or detailed to any specific plot of land. It seemingly is
Yeah.
so, but
Yeah.
no one looks at it carefully. and-
They take the coordinates of the property and then they match it up against observations or
Yeah.
recorded incidences of those species in that area. And that's typically what we all use for DEP permitting processes, so.
Have you walked the land and seen anything that?
No. No, it's pretty dense vegetation in there, but we have not seen anything.
No landing turtles?
No, didn't step on any. No.
Well, I would point out that you got almost one entire lot that's not being developed at this time.
Correct.
So,
Right.
all right, so does anybody feel the need for more evidence for that or not? No. Okay. All right, so, and then there's the impact statements, which I assume you've seen, and
Yes.
we would put those in the findings.
Yep. And we did, that's one thing, I know the chief is here, but we did design this so that the turning radius of the parking lot can substantiate a Bridgton fire truck turning.
Oh, good.
And we would probably make the utility license from MDOT a condition.
Yep.
I'm assuming it might
Yeah, and
be a
we'll-
while before you get it.
Yeah, well, we're gonna start that right off, so we wanna make sure we're substantially along with this board and the DEP before we file that, so that's the next step for us, is to get that underway. But we need,
Okay.
to your point, we need authorization from the water district and the sanitary district as well, so.
I think that's everything unless somebody has something else.
Think of anything.
Are you're all set? So we'll see you back January 2nd.
Ooh,
Is that work for you?
that works for us, yeah, I'm working.
And again, our intent would be to deliver and render a decision at that time.
Perfect,
I
yeah,
think you
and-
can see where the
And
board's
we're
leaning.
hopeful, I mean, we're pushing DEP, we're hopeful to have the final DEP approval by then, but we'll see.
Yeah, that would also be a condition if you
Okay,
don't have it.
appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I guess you're gonna, are you staying up there for the next one, or?
No.
No, that's somebody else.
No.
Okay.
No.
Somebody else did the
One
plan.
is enough, right?
All right.
Madam Chair, okay, may we have a 2-minute recess?
It's never 2 minutes, but we'll do 5 minutes while people clear in and out. By the clock, well, that clock is different than my clock. 6:36 PM by your phone. There are several people here that are interested in the Wind subdivision. If they wish to speak, is there consensus from the board that they may speak?
Do we need a motion?
We don't technically, but if you'd like one, we can do it.
I'll move that we take public comment on the
Second.
Windsor.
Okay, moved by Mr. Mattson, seconded by Ms. Cook. Anyone in favor? Any discussion?
All in favor, say aye.
All in favor, say aye. Thank you.
Okay.
This is for new business, 6A, Wind Road subdivision, Wind Road, map 4, lot 25. Does anybody wish to recuse themselves? My review shows the applicant has standing and has provided proper notice. This is a subdivision application, so it uses the subdivision regs. I would let you know, though, that it uses the prior subdivision regs, not the new ones we just approved, because Mr. Lopez turned in this application before we held our public hearing.
But I will say that we do meet the new regs in terms of net buildable area.
You do.
Yeah.
I looked at that, so.
Thank you.
So do we feel the application is substantially complete?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we wish a public hearing or a site walk?
No.
No, I think it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Okay. And I sent in some procedural, what I consider mostly typo and procedural items.
Is that the note from the chair?
It could be. I write a lot of notes lately, but, let's bring that up. Yeah, so when we get to that point, we can go over that. All right, so, the floor is yours. Mr. Michaud, I guess it is again. How is that pronounced?
Depends on how north you are.
Michaud.
Michaud.
Michaud, Michoud,
I was never good at
Michaud.
French, so, okay.
Yeah, up north it gets a little weird.
All right, so go ahead and give us the overview or explanation of it, and
Tim
then.
Michoud, Teradyne Consultants, Wind Road Estate Subdivision. This is a pretty simple, it's a 10.26 acre lot with approximately 1,000 feet west of Route 117. There is one existing house lot on the property right now, and there are overhead power telecommunications located along the entirety of the parcel frontage. The property is not served by public water and sewer. And what the applicant is proposing is 5 additional lots on the same property to be served by wells, on-site septic. Stormwater is by retaining the existing vegetation on the site to make sure that flows are to pre-development conditions and to provide water quality and phosphorus removal requirements. There is one wetland pocket on the site that is not being disturbed, so there are no environmental impacts associated with this. And basically, it's just a simple roadway providing access to 5 new lots. And with that, I open up for questions.
Okay, just a clarification question. The existing lot is included in the subdivision, right? It would make sense that it is.
It is.
Okay, so it's a 6-lot
With
subdivision,
1 existing and 5 new.
five new on either side.
Yeah, because he said in the application that it's 5
He
lots.
said 6 one time and 5
So it
another.
Yeah, so it's
That was,
6.
I mean, it'd be weird if you
Six
couldn't really,
including
it
the
wouldn't be a subdivision on
primary
one
lot.
side if you didn't, so. And then the other thing is just some typos that I assume you got.
I'm blaming my boss.
I don't know who it was, but,
Jeff.
just for clarification, on page 1, the opening paragraph says the subdivision will be located on Kimball Road. I think it means Wynn Road. I'm assuming a template from a prior
Yeah,
subdivision
it
was
is.
used. Page 7 refers to the development is in an open field. It's not, but Kimball Road was. You answered the question of the 6 lots. It would be good to have a large version of before any final sign-offs, of the subdivision plan done by Riverside Survey. It's in the booklet, but we didn't have a large one.
You'll need to endorse the plan.
Yeah. And,
We have those upstairs.
Okay.
you have them upstairs? Okay. And of course, on those final plans will have to be comments about the buffers and deed restrictions for those and that sort of thing.
course.
Brenda can give us guidance. I think when we get to it, Brenda will give us guidance on everything that needs to be included in there, and the board for anything. So why don't we go to the public and then to the board? Is that okay with everybody? All right, is there any members of the public that would like to speak? Please go to the mic and name and address, please.
Ladies first.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Cunningham. I abut 5 of the lots. There's already a house there, and the majority of my property is below the elevation of this property, and the wetlands drain right into the back property and into Jack Branch, which is watershed, with trout and fisher cats and bears. And I have concerns about maintaining that as the precious gem that it is. And that's pretty much it. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, again, name and,
Thank you, Board. My name's Michael Citro. I live 21 Noble Lane. And we just have just concerns about, is it going to be single-family dwellings? Is it going to be mobile homes? The road's in rough shape, has been for a long time. There was a collapsed culvert that took almost a year to fix right near where this development is going. It's fixed now, but it took a year, and there was quite a big pothole. And the road's just in rough shape, and I don't know if that can be addressed at all. But thank you for your time.
yeah, thank you. How do you pronounce your last name again?
Citro.
Citro. So to answer one of your questions about mobile homes, the applicant, if they intended there to be mobile homes on each lot, would actually be applying for a different subdivision approval than this. Is that correct, Brenda?
We believe so, yes.
Yep. And what was your second point, was about the road? We don't have authority on that. My understanding is that road, my understanding from Mr. Madsen, but I don't think it's been approved, is that road is on schedule to be repaved.
So can I just
But
back
I
to
mean,
what
I
I just
can't really
agreed to?
guarantee that.
No, going back to what I just agreed to, if it's a mobile home park, it would be a different application.
Right.
That doesn't mean that it's restricted to not have a mobile home on one of the lots if.
But as soon as it gets to 2, it's a mobile home park, right?
To be clear, it's for single-family dwellings?
I think Mr. Lopez
Yeah,
can
there's
answer
no,
that.
there's no intention to put mobile homes on these lots. It would be, the intention is to put single-family dwellings on.
Okay, so the intention is for single-family dwellings, and I see Mr. Lopez's builder in the back there who does that work,
So
so.
these are not gonna be like duplexes or multiplexes or anything like that?
That's not the plan.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions from the public?
By the way, when the road's a public, town of Bridgton Road.
Correct.
Right, but I can't guarantee what's gonna happen, I just know what it is.
No, I know that, I'm just saying is, it's not owned by the abutters, it's owned by the
No.
town.
Go ahead.
Good evening. My name's Doug Place. I also reside at Noble Lane, 5 Noble Lane. And I thank you very much for taking the time to listen to us. It's been very, very interesting. I can see why you sit so far apart, but anyway. Does everybody have a copy of the miniature copy of the subdivision?
I got a
Yes,
big one.
yes.
Oh, you got a big one?
Yeah.
Okay. So, one of my biggest concerns is fire protection. Being a former firefighter myself in the local area, a firefighter's worst nightmare is running out of water, okay? And there is none to present. Woods Pond is too far away. I believe the requirement is to be within a mile to consider that a water source, and it's beyond that. So I may have a fix for that. If you look at where that wetland is that they show between lot 4 and 5, there is no standing water there. Okay, but right across, and there is a culvert there, which isn't shown on this drawing, that runs from that wetland across Wind Road to what we've been referring to for 25 years as a frog pond. And that does have water year-round. And I proposed to the builder this afternoon that maybe installing one of those standpipes that goes down in there that they can draw water from a fire truck. And I have spoke to the owners of that area, that frog pond area, and they're all for it. They'll sign whatever they gotta sign to put some type of a, not a hydrant, I don't even know what you call those. Dry, okay. There is a wetland, if you look at lots 1 and 2, I'm not even sure why it's not on here, but there's a great big wet area right there. Do you see the culvert right in front of lot 2? That's the one that Mr. Citro was just referring to, that's been broken down and clogged for years. They did come out this summer, dug that all up and put a new culvert in. The problem is the culvert's not low enough. That whole area is still full of water, almost as big as this room. And it never drains off because if you walk to the other side of the road and look at the culvert, there's no water coming out of it, yet there's still a foot or 2 feet of water on the other side of the road. And that culvert actually goes to a small stream that runs all the way down through the woods and eventually crosses Route 117 through a culvert. And again, there's no water coming through it. The reason that is there, and probably isn't on here as a wetland, is that last storm we had that did a lot of road damage, washed out a good portion of Wind Road, did a lot of damage. And when they came back in and patched it, filled it, patched it, for whatever reason, they put, what do you call those, swales. The water used to always come down on Noble Lane side of the road. That's why there's a culvert under Noble Lane, okay? And for whatever reason, they, coming down the hill, way up behind this, they swaled on the other side of the road. So all the runoff water coming down that Wind Road towards this subdivision is all pouring into that side of the road now. And that's what's caused that great big wet area that you don't see on here. And again, I think that would alleviate putting in that dry hydrant on the other side of the road and fixing that culvert so that that can drain off would help an awful lot. And lastly, I'll agree with Mr. Citro that the road is a horror show. They haven't touched it. I've been there 23 years, 23 plus years, and they haven't touched it in all the time I've been there. And it is literally falling apart. There are big boulders coming up through the tar. I mean, it's a mess. And I really think, but I understand you don't get involved with that. But
We
that
don't,
really,
if it's a public road, we don't have the authority to ask an applicant to, or request that that road is changed or improved by, upgraded by the applicant. And we don't have authority over the town for that. But we can certainly, in any findings, make a recommendation. Or I can, as the board can send a letter to the town, specifically on the culvert issue and the road, culvert issues and the road issue. And I mean, I think that's what we've done in the past.
okay, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Doug, you're suggesting that you put a dry hydrant on the other side of the road from where the new lot 2 is, right?
No,
Yeah.
if you see the existing wetland between 4 and 5,
There. And the culvert, though, at the end is at lot 2.
Is it 2?
what are you asking?
So you're saying put a culvert,
No,
Yeah.
there's already a culvert there.
doesn't show on the plan.
No, it doesn't show, but
there's a line
He's
across.
saying that there, I think you said there was a frog pond across the street where
Right.
that
I'm
drained.
just trying to understand, because
And
I'm not
and the
seeing,
suggestion was to put a dry hydrant in there
So these are two different areas.
Right, to answer your question, where the wetland is there right now
Right here,
between
this- you're
4 and
talking about
5,
this one.
there is a culvert from that wetland underneath Wind Road to a frog pond.
I'm just saying it doesn't show on this plan.
It's just
Yeah.
not showing it on the map.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking.
And that frog pond is really the only thing on that entire road that has sufficient water year-round. It doesn't dry up.
Yeah. Could I ask,
Except on Lot 2 where
Yeah.
your culvert's
Yes.
backed up.
Lot 2, that's just a culvert issue, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so
is
that's a
it,
maintenance issue.
Yes.
yeah, is it Lot 2 where the road washed out on the big storm?
It's right in front of Lot 1.
Right in
Actually, it's
front
right
of
in
Lot-
front of, do you see where the Noble Road is?
Yes,
It's right in front of the, if you come out of Noble Lane, you drop right in the hole when it was there.
oh,
But it was pretty lengthy, too. It was probably, I'm gonna say at least 30 to 35 feet long,
is Noble Lane private or public?
private.
Private.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Regarding the dry hydrant, I mean, Chief, do you have any,
Yes,
could you just come up and comment on fire protection? You didn't spike out any concerns, so could you just explain how it would be protected? I have driven that road, there's several other homes on that road that I assume are in the same situation.
I don't have the map in front of me tonight, but I know that there was, if I can just look at that real quick. Between lots 5 and 6 on the map, there's labeled, it's just a rectangular area that's shaded in a little darker. That is a parking area or a water staging point that would meet our ordinance, the fire protection ordinance for subdivisions as far as size and location to cover that area. And that's why I didn't raise any particular questions on that. I will say certainly a dry hydrant would be better than a parking lot for us to use, but I know from past experience that from the boat launch at Woods Pond to the top of the hill, right at the crest of the hill by North Road is 1,000 feet, because we've done that before. And that has to be within a mile of a water source, which would be Woods Pond.
Right.
So that meets the criteria for the fire protection ordinance for subdivisions. If there's a way to develop the dry hydrant and people are interested in doing that, I'd certainly be willing to look at the options and see
Yeah.
what we could do with that.
Okay. Mr. Lopez or Mr. Michaud, do you have
May I
any
ask one-
comments about the dry, go ahead.
I'll roll this back to the chief. So if you put a dry hydrant there between 4 and 5, between 4 and 5, would you need that space?
You still need the space if you have the dry hydrant.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I got my lot numbers
right.
Yeah, that's,
If we put a dry hydrant, they put a dry hydrant across the street, but they still need the gravel pad for the fire trucks for pumping.
No, we would just need some space right there
By
at the
the-
dry hydrant, to get a truck in, but not the same size space that is indicated on the
Just
plan now.
understand there's an option there.
Can we ask the chief what the requirements would be for deeming
I
a
think it's,
body of water acceptable for a dry hydrant and bodies of water that wouldn't be?
I can certainly get you the information. I don't know all the, dimensions off the top of my head because it's based on number of gallons available year-round and taking, ice, the amount that would freeze in the wintertime out of that.
Ice out of it, so you have to have a volume underneath that.
Underneath, and then also a little bit underneath the strainer where that would be, because you can't have that sitting in the mud or on the bottom.
Right.
And then, obviously it depends on your length and width. I mean, that can vary
I'm just
to get us the
Not sure
area.
what this frog pond.
my concern is if there's a frog pond, is it a vernal pool, is it,
You don't
and
just
then.
stick a pipe in the ground and
and-
start pumping water out of it.
And if you're putting a pipe in the ground to go to that pond and you're draining the wetland, then that, when you don't have to drain the wetland, then because it's draining to that pond, and if you draw, maybe I'm wrong, but if you draw a bunch of water out of it for fire safety, it's not gonna be it may not be a wetland
Do you
anymore.
taxpayers want your
I mean, that's my concern, if we're concerned about wildlife and, you know, and aquatic life in a wetland or other animals, then that wetland could be harmed, is what I'm thinking.
I'm just saying, but it's a balance between public safety and that. I'm just saying, and I don't know, I haven't, as we said, do we need a site visit? And I haven't been up the road, so I don't know what that looks like there.
I've been up it a few times. Ken, and then I wanted Mr. Lopez to have a chance.
Chief, I just want a confirmation that for water, you can reach Woods Pond
No.
from this,
No.
No, we would be shuttling water, as long as there's no dry hydrant in there, we
Yeah.
would shuttle water with tankers, with trucks
Oh,
from
so you
Woods
would
Pond
use this parking area
up
for
to
the
that
tanker.
parking lot.
Right.
Yes.
Just,
And then lay a hose line from that area to
From
any of the
that area
houses.
to the house.
Which
Yes.
is,
And that would be sufficient,
That would meet the fire protection
good.
for subdivision ordinance, yes.
and that's exactly what was done, if I remember correctly, for Middle Ridge, the properties on Middle Ridge, and I don't remember Kimball. I think that's close to that's within a certain distance, but that's typically what's done if you can't tap into a pond.
Yeah, just wanted confirmation.
Or
That's
the
good, thank you.
houses have.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mark.
Or the houses have to be sprinkled. You know, I mean, I think the question is, do we meet the standard? And I think that we do. If this was something that the town wanted to further and engage, you know, further this conversation with the property owners, we'd be happy to have that discussion down the road, but not to preempt this process that we're in now.
Okay, and, yeah,
That answers that question.
yeah, well, I think,
We're
yeah.
willing to have the conversation, but we don't want to.
No, I understand.
Don't want it to be, yeah.
You want you want to see what's happening with this.
Well, I think it does meet meet the standard.
It does.
We're not deliberating at the moment, but it's not obvious that it doesn't. So,
Dry hydrant locations have to be studied, you just can't stick.
yeah, my concern is this is something that could go as far as involving DEP and, you know, you're gonna have to be legal documentation, you know, with easements between the property owners, and it could be, it's not nearly as simple as it sounds.
And there could be a landing turtle swimming in the pond.
There could be, you never know.
Or area
So
could be in there.
So other questions from the, go ahead, Mr.
Just
Citro.
comment to what the chief said about Woods Pond.
Can you go to the mic, because people at home want to hear you? They watch our riveting conversations.
I have seen this procedure, I've been involved with this procedure several times, setting up water dumping ponds, drawing water up from a lake. In ideal conditions, it works great. But we lost a house on Wynn Road 3 years ago, and no, I'm not upset at the fire department, nobody is. Volunteer fire departments, when you're working all day long and the tones go off at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, active structure fire, what do you think you get for people? 3, maybe 4?
Yeah.
There were 3 of them that showed up at this house fire. There is no way you're gonna set a hose from Woods Pond to a staging area. I mean, it requires a lot of people to do that. A lot more than 3. Okay, and I just wanted to add that. Under ideal circumstances, it's a great idea, but you're not always in that position.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you have any further comments, Chief?
I'll just say that when we were drafting the ordinance for fire protection for the subdivisions, we looked at many different options, and we put what we felt were the 4 best options in the ordinance. One is extending water mains where that's feasible. In most cases, for subdivisions, it's not. Residential sprinklers was one. Developing a water source such as a dry hydrant or a cistern or something like that. Or, with a lot of debate, we came up with the idea of an area off the road that we could use without plugging up a road into a subdivision to set up dump tanks and our engine and turn tankers around and do the whole drill. It's certainly not ideal, and it does take time. There's no, and time's our mortal enemy in the fire service, no matter what. When something's burning, it never slows down unless we hit it with a lot of water. But we are also trying to be realistic in what we could have as an ordinance and ask developers and builders and townspeople to support, and that's what we came up with. And that, as I said, the present plan meets the ordinance requirements. Is it ideal? No, but it does meet the ordinance. And I know there's been other discussions about different parts of things, and we can't go beyond that and require something, beyond what the ordinance says. So that's where we stand, and that's how that came about.
Okay.
Brief history lesson.
Okay, thank
Thanks,
you.
Chief.
I have some questions about the phosphorus calculations and some, we got a comment
Yes, ma'am.
from a board member which, which hopefully you saw. Basically, they contend that Willett Brook does not outlet to Highland Lake, or it's not in the Highland Lake watershed. The comment is, and which kind of makes sense to me because of its location. It meets in confluence with Stevens Brook at Depot Street and thence flows to Long Lake. And they're questioning the calculation of the phosphorus export because was it done going to Highland Lake instead of Long Lake? And I don't actually know if that matters other than what the phosphorus budget is for the lakes. So can you kind of help us out there?
Well, I don't know where, if there's a question about where it ultimately discharges to, I can't answer that right now.
It goes down into the stream that comes out at Sandy Creek, I'm pretty sure, because I've hunted that whole area. And there's a stream that crosses over by Karen Hawkins' house, and then another one that comes out, right at the top of North Road there, where it crosses 117, and then of course Woods Pond goes out, and there's a stream that runs all the way down into Sandy Creek, so it goes into the watershed for Bridgton.
Yeah, but there's a Highland Lake watershed and there's a Long Lake watershed.
Right, so at the end of the day, I didn't do the phosphorus calculation, so I can't answer that question.
Okay.
Truthfully, right now. There probably are different budgets for the two, but they're probably very similar with how I put that. So we can circle back around on that.
I think that would be helpful
information.
unless, Ms. Day, can you, I started looking up watershed maps, but, I can see where Highland Lake watershed ends, but again, I don't know what flows to what. Ms. Day, do you have any?
I can't answer that right this minute, I'd have to research it.
Yeah, it's probably not complicated to answer that. It's just,
Okay.
I'd have to, I don't want to say.
I mean,
words
I don't
with
have a
people.
problem if you can come back with that and we can, I don't think we have to, well, I'll leave it up to the board. I think we need to be accurate about where things are draining
Yes.
to.
Yeah, I mean, I got the question, isn't that only relative in terms of what the export fee is, or?
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying,
exactly.
right? I mean, the numbers aren't gonna change, it's just a matter of the fee structure.
I believe that to be the case.
Huh?
And so when you, but there's also discussion in here about the assumptions in the phosphorus calculations. So maybe I'll just look at those.
Well, I didn't, if you emailed that to me today, I did not see it.
Okay, hold on.
But the stormwater management plan for this small subdivision and the phosphorus calculations are quite simple for this.
Right.
The 10, almost 11 acre property is completely buffered with forest. And so the house lots go in, driveways go in, the forested buffers will be deeded, not to be disturbed and ruined. So they will go into the deed of the properties and of the subdivision. They'll be in the subdivision conditions of approval. So those buffers provide the treatment to the phosphorus to exceed the budget, no matter which watershed they go to.
Yeah, this says the area eventually flows to Jack Brook.
They're the same exact price for Highland and Monmouth, they just lifted up.
Oh, so it doesn't really.
So does it change any of the assumptions in the calculations?
No, because it's, again, all the lots, so basically, how stormwater works for the subdivision, there is a ridge going down the middle of the subdivision, running parallel to Wind Road. And so water flows by overland flows to either side of that ridge, and those low sides of the subdivision will be protected in deeded forest.
Right.
So that is what provides the stormwater quantity and quantity and quality control.
So, okay, so I got you. So I think what we just need in the finality when this is signed off, which I think it will be, is can we just make sure that we're referring to the right drainage and or the correct drainage and the correct watershed? What Mr. Amos has put in here is pretty detailed, to be
Yes,
honest, so.
right.
I don't honestly know which one's right.
Right, so what we could do is,
That's why we miss Kathy.
if what's
I'm
submitted,
not sure I agree with her.
if what's submitted is correct, we'll just notify you as correct, and if it's not, then we will amend that and
Okay,
get that back to you.
that's good.
So we'll just let you know either way.
Yeah, let us know, and it would be good to know why you come to that conclusion.
Right.
So there must be watershed maps
My
or
bet is that
something.
you got it correct.
Yeah.
You have it in the Highland Lake watershed in your phosphorus.
Right, but the treatment of anything is going to be the same.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
to be specific on where on the earth the drainage is headed to be accurate.
So I have a question about the
What-
buffers.
yeah,
Are
what
they
buffer?
located, they appear to be located,
Down gradient?
well, there's one large down gradient, yeah. So there's one large buffer, forested buffer, backing up to, I believe,
Between lots 1 and 2.
the property that, the lady here whose name I forget, Nancy. And then that covers 4 lots, and then there's an additional 3 or 4 buffers
These are
in here.
buffers here.
Actually, more like 5 or 6 buffers.
Yeah, it's a continuous buffer.
And those are all on the down, those are all kind of on the down slope essentially? And is that why they're there, I assume?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and,
There's a
there's no
buffer
buffer, there's
around
no
each
buffer
lot.
required for the lot where there's already a house. Can you just explain why? Because
Because,
it's still relatively wooded.
right, but that lot probably has been in existence for a very long time.
No, it hasn't. They just built that house.
I'm sorry, I don't
Sorry.
know. I don't know.
Yeah, so one at a time here. So maybe,
I'm looking at the plan, doesn't it show a buffer on between lot 3,
shows a buffer on lot 1.
both sides?
Shows a buffer on lot 2.
Shows one on lot 3.
No, it doesn't.
No, lot 3 is no buffer.
Maybe it just isn't located there
Yeah.
because it's not
I'm sorry,
relevant.
there's a little buffer on lot 4.
Yes.
There's a buffer on lot 4, 5, and 6. And then there's another buffer running along 4, 5, and 6.
At the top.
Yeah.
So how it works is it's based on how the contours are flowing, how stormwater runoff discharges from each lot. So it's not that every lot per se has to have a buffer, it's that the runoff from that lot gets to a buffer, because that's what's provided the quantity and quality control. But we can confirm that, particularly for the existing lot. Again, I didn't do the phosphorus, Jeff did, so.
Yeah, I think it's just a question to be confirmed is
Yep,
the phosphorus calculations take into account the total land area, correct?
yes,
So my assumption is that there, I don't know, but my assumption is there's extra buffers built into this
correct,
to catch the water on either side of lot 3, as well as down
correct.
to the road and then back in the back where
You are
Miss
correct.
Nancy's property is. Ken?
Yeah, the contours show that the water does flow from Lot 2 to Lot 3 toward the house on Lot 3. And so, is it wooded in the back of Lot 2?
Yes. Answer your
Yeah.
question.
So I guess you got the forested, it's forested as long as it's protected and not cleared.
Yeah, the point of using existing vegetated buffers to provide stormwater quality treatment is that they are protected, and they go in the deed for the lot.
Right.
That they're not to be disturbed. Now, if there's a tree that is dead and it could fall on your house
sure,
and
that's-
kill you, then.
That's
then
part of the
Part of the
regulation,
deed
yes.
language and the homeowners association documents or whatever will stipulate that you can go cut that tree.
Mm-hmm, right.
But you're not to go in there and deforest a buffer that we provided so that you guys could approve this project. That's not how it works. You can't get approval and then go ruin something. That has to stay part of the project. It's the same as
Yeah,
a
I think what he's asking is, why isn't there a buffer between
3 and 2?
3 and 2 that goes along the length? Now, that house is on a high spot. I mean,
Like a buff.
I saw it from a distance, and
Yeah.
it rises up.
So the water would go around it.
I believe so.
And
I mean, I would think, well, never mind. Angie, did you have a question? Okay.
I could provide a little more detail.
Okay, I mean, I kind of feel like we have enough to deliberate here with the addition of some detail, but I'll go wherever the board wants to go. Dee?
I'm just concerned about this non-functioning culvert because that's a maintenance issue. And these plans have been made with the assumption that the existing culvert is working, which it isn't doing. And I would like for that to be attended to, because I think that the developer can't really count on what he's doing if other things that are installed, infrastructure that's installed, isn't functioning, then he's not dealing with the situation that he thinks he's dealing with.
I said I would, I mean, we don't have authority over that. I said I would send a letter, I will send a letter on behalf of the board to Mr. Madsen and copy the town manager and copy the CEO, stating that the public has brought it up as an issue, and that there's assumptions built into these plans that it works, and that it's addressed, and in particular, if they do plan on upgrading the road and repaving it,
We should know
that
that.
is the perfect time to address it.
Absolutely, but I don't want it to be on some evergreen list in the future, because there are
We have no
current
author-
plans
we have
that are
no
dealing
authority.
with
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we can't deal
It should
with
be
it.
dealt with, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
For
so-
the town,
For the town.
put it on their list. I don't mean our list, I mean their list.
We have the authority to ask them to address it. We don't have the authority to do much more than that.
And we don't have the authority to ask the applicant.
Do
to
it. No,
we don't have
something
the
on-
authority to ask the
To do
applicant.
something on land that doesn't belong to him.
And also counting on infrastructure that is not functioning.
Okay, so what I have right now is, in terms of the actual application, is a confirmation of the assumptions around the phosphorus budget. A final map with the buffers and statements that what all is required on the map. We need a statement on that map that those are deeded, right? Those buffers are required. And does it go on the Mylar that?
Yeah,
Does as
Okay,
part of a
yes,
covenant.
but does the explanation about it's required for stormwater go on there, or does that go in the findings? It's just a point of clarification of how much detail is required on the Mylar.
I can answer that.
Oh, please do.
Okay.
If you want to make it a condition of approval, then it gets on that plan.
right.
Okay,
Okay.
All right.
But we provide notes to that allude to that as well. But if you wanted to condition that, you could condition that any way you want, and that ensures that it's on the subdivision plan, and it gets that language gets included in part of each deed for each lot.
Yeah.
And any covenant has to be put on the plan.
And we've just asked that the setbacks be put on there. That's
Yes,
something we've just asked.
I would like the setbacks on there, and also on the small plan, it shows the lot frontage, since that's a spec, and I can see that you meet it by adding things up. Could the frontages also be on there? So the setbacks, the frontages, along with the other items.
Frontages have to be there because we can't make a
Right, I mean,
ruling without it. We can't
I-
make a ruling without it.
I calculated it, and it is technically on the stormwater map, you just have to add things together. So, we could make a ruling, but I'd like it to be clear.
So what we're looking to do really is we're looking to finalize the subdivision plan, is what we're really trying to do here.
Right,
Yeah, so we can help you with that.
so, Ken?
Yeah, is the applicant going to build these houses, or just simply sell the lots to individuals?
The plan would be to build houses on them. Dave is here. Dave is actually the co-applicant with me, so that would be the plan to build houses on them, yes.
Is it, would it be possible to limit the amount of buildable area that is used on each lot, for the amount of impervious area that?
Well, I think we've showed a building envelope for purposes of the phosphorus calculations.
Okay.
They're all here.
Yeah, it's part of the assumptions.
Typically, it's 5,000 square feet of impervious and 15 of landscape for a total of 20,000 square feet
Correct.
Yeah.
on an acre lot. So you got half the lot remains woods.
Okay, that's good.
And another question that came up was a question that the septic would be far enough from the wells. I assume you sort that when you go to build? Or have you
Don't have
done
any
test
choice.
pits? Yeah, have you done test pits so
Yes,
far?
test pits have been done.
Okay, so the well would have to be located above those test
100
pits?
feet, yeah.
All right,
The test pits are shown on this plan.
yeah, so it's easy enough to write that in the findings,
Mm-hmm.
that the wells will be 300 feet and uphill of the,
100.
yeah, or 100, sorry, so.
100.
Okay, so do we want to stop there and tie this all up in January?
Do you have enough to deliberate on there?
Well, we're owed some things, and I'm assuming they're going to come out okay, but if you want to deliberate now, we can.
Those things could be conditioned, I guess.
What's the board want to do? We still need some items, so I think this would be a very fast deliberation once we get those items.
Oh,
And
So if
it's
that's
the
okay on that side, let's do
Yeah.
that.
When's the next meeting?
January 3rd.
I thought it was the second.
I thought it was second.
Second, sorry. Why'd you ask?
It's only the third for
I
you,
was just
Mark.
confirming.
It's only the third for
Okay,
you.
everyone here?
We're gonna have you come by yourself.
So is that
So I-
okay? Are you planning to start?
Yeah, I mean, I think we could do it to condition the approval on what we have to get you to. I mean, I think that way, it's off your docket for the next one. We're here, we're within Deb's 7:30 window.
I'm just not sure what the items remaining are.
So the items
Just
are
house
the confirmation of the stormwater,
Yep. All right,
Based on
so
the-
what we've been talking about.
what we've been
Yeah.
talking about,
Okay,
updating the maps,
yep.
okay? And to have everything they need to have, which we can't formally sign it off till we have that
For
anyway.
example, the frontage distances, it
Yeah.
says,
And then I think it was just a question of interest or an explanation of, but it's not, I wouldn't make it a condition, an explanation of why there's not a buffer on lot
Yes.
Yeah,
3.
you want confirmation that the phosphorus calculations take into account the whole site, inclusive of the.
Take into
house.
account the whole site, that where it drains to, and all of that is accurate. Those are the big things. I don't expect it to be incorrect, or to fail, but, and then,
got an
I
engineer's
think you got the
stamp on
other
it.
things, why there's not a buffer on 3. I think we're all making assumptions about it, and then, the maps having all the detail that's required. So does the board have a preference here? We will be here beyond 7:30 if we deliberate,
That's okay.
and we're still owed some things anyway.
So why don't we just come back to it in January and finish it?
We're gonna be back in January anyway for it.
Yeah.
And, and this is the preliminary plan. I think we would do preliminary and
wonderful
final all in one
Thank you.
fell swoop. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
I mean,
It's fine.
I think the feeling from the board is there's no
There's
significant
nothing here
barriers
to make this thing stop.
Can I
For
comment on
the,
that?
for the audience here that had concerns
have anything
about
to do with it,
fire and wildlife, it isn't in a right or wrong, it's not in a significant wildlife habitat by the maps that are provided to us.
We could make that happen.
And in terms of fire protection, I mean, I understand your comment. I also live in an area where it's the same thing, it's shuttling, and unfortunately, that's, we live in a very rural town, and you just can't have water spigots everywhere.
No, I just worry about the water coming down from these three corner properties into.
Yeah, I think-
It's a bowl, it's a big bowl.
I think the stormwater buffers should
Yeah.
take care of that from what they're telling us.
The erosion, the big rains we're having now, because the top of my property's up high, it's all sand, but then it comes
Yep.
right down, comes below these.
Yep. Okay, so I think we're ready to move on.
Okay.
So the last things on the agenda are,
Find a blaming turtle, and I may, never know.
I appreciate your response.
Rent a turtle.
Rent a turtle.
So I'll do 7B first. We have a workshop meeting on the 18th. This is specifically to go over the items that came up in the public hearing and make appropriate changes. Tori and I will put together a little roadmap or summary prior to the meeting. Then training, we have yet to pick a date for training. I would like to just pick one. So it requires us to be in a room together with the CEO and Laura Lee and to watch the tape from last year and have an interactive discussion
This is the
about it.
training for,
Training, planning board training. So, and so I think we would do that during the day, not at night.
Okay.
And my thought is, maybe we should do it the second week in January? It doesn't have to be at a regular meeting time, but we do need to have the training once a year. and we're-
well,
we're
I'm
late.
just saying, you got Dan who probably can't make the day.
Thank you, have a
Good night.
good one.
Good night.
Can Dan make the day? I know I can make the day. Actually, yeah, probably I can make the day.
Well, if you want to have a really full planning board day on December 18th, we can do planning in the morning and workshop in the evening. It's up to you. Dan can come on that day, but that's 4 hours of planning board that
Yeah,
day.
what day of the week is the 18th?
It'll be a Tuesday.
Monday.
Oh, it's a
It's a
Monday.
Monday.
Yeah, that's Monday, the 18th is our workshop, December 18th. That's why I put it on there. So, let's do this. I'm gonna send out an email with a date in January and a time.
Okay.
We'll organize and maybe I'll do it as a Google, you can do like a pick your date thing. But, we just gotta bite the bullet and do it. By
What
law.
happens if you don't go to the training at all?
You get slapped silly by the code
Okay,
enforcement officer.
fine. That
really?
that doesn't scare me.
Well, we've had a lot of years that we've kind of neglected going to training. People haven't either shown up to our meetings or, and they're supposed to watch the tape after and then they never do. So we're really kind of putting people accountable to make sure that they are
Yeah.
attending these meetings once a year.
You used to be able to take it
When was the
online
last training that was done?
Last July.
last year.
July 2022. I think one of the values of this is with all of us together and not in the middle of an application, it's a good time to have an iterative discussion about things, and we have a guide from the lawyer that we used last year, we can reuse as we watch the tape, but things like interpretation of ordinances, definitions, ex parte, bias, conflict of interest, all of these things
No
are
one has any bias.
worthy of discussion and making sure everybody's on the same page, and if they're not, to try and understand more.
And just for an extra, not that I want to rack up a bill, but we're not doing the attorneys in-house right now because of the cost. It's really costly. However, if everybody goes through the training and there's some very specific questions that I can reach out and ask, I don't mind doing that. So, if we have some specifics on,
That would be a good outcome from the training if if
so
that
then
was the
at least
case.
we can have it in the OneDrive as a reference material if people have some very specific questions regarding what was said in the training or outside of that, of procedural.
I just can't wait to see you running the
Aren't these
training.
both the same?
Oh, it's on tape. I don't run it.
Okay,
I don't know why this is.
So I'll send out something for the second week in January. And it's not gonna be a Tuesday, because the select board meets then, so it's going to be a different day than a Tuesday. It's going to
When's Martin
be,
Luther King Day?
it's going to be no later than 3 o'clock, so that these folks can leave by 5.
Sounds okay.
And you'll be home for dinner, Dee.
Yeah, look at that.
And if it's possible to do it in the morning,
Only if
I
you
don't know
make
yet.
my
We don't have
dinner.
dinner.
Just let me know.
Well, we can order out.
I want you to bring it here, then I can take it home.
Well, we'll get it from the black horse.
Okay, well, we're at the
That's not
witching
bad.
hour. We could be
We're
done
done.
3 minutes early.
Whoop, whoop.
Could I have a motion to
Wow.
adjourn?
I move to
Moved by
adjourn.
Mr. Gibbs, seconded by Ms. Cook. All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. 5-0.